Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rob. Welcome to the Savage Body. And today we're going to talk about low back pain, finally. If you know somebody that has back pain or struggles with back pain, send this to them or tag them in it. They're going to want to hear this information. Because today I specifically want to talk to you about a paper written by, you guessed it, Peter and Kieran O'Sullivan, the two-headed horsemen of no-nonsense scientific research, entitled Back to Basics, 10 Facts Every Person Should Know About Back Pain. I'm a Scottish lord. Get used to it. So let's see, this was published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine in June 2020, not so long ago, about a year. This paper here rips right into it from the get-go. And I quote, "Low back pain, LBP, is the leading cause of disability worldwide and is often associated with costly, ineffective, and sometimes harmful care. What drives disability and poor care, you might ask? There's a question mark. Unhelpful beliefs about low back pain are associated with greater levels of pain, disability, work absenteeism, medication use, and healthcare seeking. Unhelpful beliefs are common in people with and without low back pain and can be reinforced by the media, industry groups, and well-meaning clinicians." And so, without further ado, I present to you, Back to Basics, 10 facts every person should know about low back pain.
Myth number 1.
Low back pain is usually a serious medical condition. Fact, low back pain is not a serious life-threatening medical condition. In fact, it is rarely associated with any sort of serious pathology. Yeah, sometimes low back pain is super serious. Tumor, infection, broken bone, kidney problems, just a couple of examples. Most of the time though, it's not. This is the value of going to see a PT when your back hurts, to make sure that you don't have some other crazy thing going on. More often than not though, in fact 97% of the time, your low back pain is going to be what's considered mechanical low back pain, or low back pain that arises directly from the structures of the low back. Muscles, tendons, ligaments, bones, joints, etc. 70% of the time, this pain is going to be from a ligamentous or a muscular strain, so just damage or sensitivity of the soft tissue. 10% of the time, the pain in your low back is because of arthritis or other normal age-related degenerative changes of the structures of the spine itself. Let me tell you this, if you have arthritis in your spine, that makes you normal. Most people by their 20s start showing signs of arthritis. Everybody in their 80s has arthritis. You don't get to age without getting arthritis. That's how we age. Also, only about 4% of low back pain, depending on your source, is related to an actual disc injury. And I'm going to talk about disc injuries more in a little bit, but disc injuries, again, they're not life-threatening and they're not gonna kill you, again, most of the time. I can't think of a time when a person would have a disc injury that would kill them, unless you're some big game hunter and you're trying to run away from a Cape buffalo and trying to hide behind a tree, and then you trip and fall and you herniate a disc and your right leg falls asleep and then you get just pulverized by a Cape buffalo. That'd be an example, but you're not really dying from the disc so much as from the pissed off 2,000-pound quadruped trampling you into jelly. Next point, most low back pain is mechanical. It's also non-specific, which is to say that it's kind of hard to pin down exactly what structure is causing the pain. It could be a tweak or a spasm or an irritated, overloaded joint, which is why it's often effective to treat movements rather than specific structures, right? So if bending backwards causes more pain, then guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna bend forwards. And if bending forwards causes more pain, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna try bending backwards. Right, so you're looking for the position or the movement that makes you feel worse, and then typically you're doing something like the opposite of it. I get paid for giving people that kind of advice. I love it. Myth number 2! Low back pain will become persistent and deteriorate in later life. Fact. Most episodes of low back pain improve, and low back pain doesn't get worse as we age. 90% of people with low back pain get better on their own with no intervention in about 6 weeks. No chiropractic, no pain medications, no needles, no stretching, no surgery, no nothing. Chill out, and odds are you're gonna get better on your own. Okay, well, what about a slipped disc? Isn't a slipped disc a permanent thing? First off, stop saying slipped disc. When you say slipped disc, it makes it sound like a disc is just it's like a bar of soap that you're just desperately clinging to in a prison shower. If discs could physically slip, we never would have made it out of the ice age. So then, is a herniated disc permanent? Yes and no. So they did this study, right? They got 37 people. Each had a massive prolapsed lumbar disc herniation. And they found that within 2 years, 83% of these people had a full recovery with no surgical interventions. And after a follow-up MRI, they found that on average, the disc herniations had shrunk by 64%. But also, they found that the size of the shrinkage didn't correlate with recovery. Many still had sizable herniations at 2 years follow-up and still had awesome recovery and minimal pain. Your body can handle its shit. Myth number 3. Persistent low back pain is always related to tissue damage. We'll see about that now, won't we? Fact. A negative mindset, fear avoidance behavior, negative recovery expectations, and poor pain coping behaviors are more strongly associated with persistent pain than is tissue damage. Gritty people, self-efficacious people typically have a lot less pain. And it's not because their body is resistant to damage, it's because their mindset, it's because their approach to life. Now, I'm not saying that because you have low back pain that you're not tough. You can still be super tough and get a ton of low back pain. But what I am saying is that mindset plays a major role in how much pain you feel at any given moment in your back, irregardlessly of what kind of injury you may or may not have picked up. On the opposite side of the gritty people coin, relying on passive modalities, passive interventions, pharmacological interventions, and a defeatist attitude are better predictors of how severe your low back pain is going to be and how long it will persist. People that invest themselves in their recovery invest themselves in themselves. I have helped people that have suffered from low back pain for years and years and years. And I didn't help them by giving them massages. All I had to do was convince them to do the work themselves. Once you take responsibility for managing your injuries or your pain, that's a huge turning point. Myth number 4, scans are always needed to detect the cause of low back pain. Always, really? Fact. Scans do not determine the prognosis of low back pain, the likelihood of future low back pain disability, and do not improve low back pain clinical outcomes. Oh! If anything, unnecessary scans are going to make things worse because they're going to falsely attribute symptoms to likely pre-existing abnormalities in your musculoskeletal structure. Here's an interesting study. They looked at approximately 3,100 asymptomatic people, and what they found was 30% to 20-year-olds have asymptomatic lumbar disc herniations. 84% of 80-year-olds have asymptomatic lumbar disc herniations. Asymptomatic. You can herniate your discs and not have symptoms. You can herniate your discs and be totally fine. I've never had an imaging study done of my low back, and honestly, don't need to see what's going on down there. I guarantee you they would find discs out of place and joints out of whack. Whack. But I'm doing good. I don't have any pain right now. Miracle. Wonder of wonder, miracle of miracle. I don't need to know what my low back looks like because that information isn't going to add anything to my daily life. If anything, showing people MRIs or X-rays of their spine without giving them contextual information and explaining what I'm explaining to you right now is just going to disrupt their sense of bodily integrity and make them think like they're busted up. You're falsely attributing symptoms to inconsistent symptom generators, and then you end up giving those symptoms a concrete physical home. Saw it on the MRI. Doctor says I have the back of an 87-year-old, and I'm only 83. Just like that, you can become more fragile. Ladies and gentlemen, it's myth number 5. Pain related to exercise and movement is always a warning that harm is being done to the spine and a signal to stop or modify activity. We'll see about that now, won't we? Fact, graduated exercise and movement in all directions is safe and healthy for the spine. Kind of weak. Right, but I mean, like, we all know that, right? Like, how many times have I gone over this, that exercise is the fountain of youth? Strength training in particular is the fountain of youth. Like, we've talked about that enough on his channel, right? I mean, like, I've talked about it, right? If the muscles of your neck or your low back are stiff and tight and guarded, it makes sense that it'll be a little bit uncomfortable to move them. But also, going to the gym can be very uncomfortable as well. Squats and deadlifts and dips and pull-ups. I hate pull-ups. I hate pull-ups so much. If pull-ups had a face, I would slap it. Motion is lotion. Use it or lose it. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Just work it, baby. Work it. Myth number 6. Low back pain is caused by poor posture when sitting, standing, and lifting. Oh boy, I feel like I just did a video on this. Fact! Spine posture during sitting, standing, and lifting does not predict low back pain or its persistence. Spine posture, whether you're sitting, standing, or lifting, does not predict low back pain or its persistence. And I'm not just talking about sitting at the office or playing the violin here. Squatting and deadlifting with a flexed spine is not a predictor of injury. Although, I'll throw you a bone here, fellow meatheads. New lifters tend to lift with a more flexed lower back with squats or deadlifts. They are also more likely to pick up an injury, but this is not because they're lifting with a flexed spine, it's because they're inexperienced. Their body is not as used to the sort of loads and movements that they're subjecting it to, so their body is more likely to push back. Hey, what are you doing? Go sit down. Go sit down in the chair and play video games. What are you doing? And that's the kind of low back pain that they end up kind of getting. Sure, they can also, cause some serious injuries. We've all seen the ego lifters on Fail Army where they load up the Smith machine with 19 plates on each side and then get folded in half like a lawn chair. But again, that injury right there, some scrawny dude getting folded in half by 1,000 pounds, it's not because his spine is being flexed. It's because his body is not up to that challenge. And then he gets face planted into the space between his feet, and then we all get to have a nice hearty chuckle at home eating soup or breads and desserts. Getting all fat and sassy. Myth number 7. Low back pain is caused by weak core muscles, and having a strong core protects against future low back pain. Fact. A weak core doesn't cause low back pain, and some people with low back pain tend to over-tense their core muscles. While it is good to keep the trunk muscles strong, it is also helpful to relax them when they're not needed. Pretty straightforward, right? Just because core strengthening exercises can be used to improve somebody's low back pain doesn't mean that their low back pain was caused by weak core muscles. 90% of low back pain gets better on its own in 6 weeks, regardless of what you do. Most people are gonna benefit from doing anything. That's tincture of time, which is Dr. Fancy way of saying, just wait and you'll get better. If a person is actively involved in their recovery, doing planks or yoga or lifting weights, they're gonna recover. That's how we humans work. Core exercises, squats, yoga, Pilates, jazzercise, basic stretching, even just going for a daily walk. These are all demonstrably effective ways of improving low back pain. Look, also as a PT, I can't reach into you and change your mindset. I can't change your diet. I can't mend your relationships. I can't fix your financial problems. I can't make you love your job or not hate your boss, but I can give you core exercises. So with that in mind, let me show you how to do a plank. Myth number 8. Repeated spinal loading results in wear and tear and tissue damage. Oh my God, people think the human body is made out of like Velveeta cheese. Fact. Spinal movement and loading is safe and builds structural resilience when it's graded. Graded as in progressive strength training. My favorite thing in the entire world, right next to fried chicken. That's 10. Do you know where this idea came from? That repeated spinal flexion can cause your spine to explode? So what they did is they took a bunch of pig spines, right? And they put them in a pig spine flexing machine, right? And then they flexed them back and forth, nonstop, 1 repetition per second for a full day. 86,400 times. Nonstop. Dead pig spine. And you know what they found out? They found out that, yeah, if you take a dead pig's spine, rip it out of its body, and flex it 86,400 times nonstop without a break, and without the ability for it to heal itself, like you'd find in a living pig or a living human, turns out it'll just ruin the thing. Go figure. I didn't see that one coming. Right, now listen. The problem with that study compared to the human spine in a living human is that humans aren't dead. We're alive. Also, if you try to run a normal living human through that kind of study, they're gonna punch you in the face and walk away. Long before their spine explodes. Here's a study right here, where they found that rowers and cross-country skiers, 2 sports based on flexing and extending your lower back countless times under load, are no more likely to experience low back pain than any other kind of athlete. Flexing and extending your lower back under load does not damage it. As long as it's graded, as long as you're progressing into it, as long as you don't just wake up one day and decide, I think I'm gonna flex and extend my spine 86,400 times today. As long as you don't do that, you're probably gonna be fine. It's fine, those movements are fine. That's what the spine is designed to do. The human body is also designed to handle its shit, to remodel itself according to the demands of the user. That's why rowers and skiers can flex and extend their spine thousands and thousands and thousands of time under heavy load without being injured, is because their body's like, okay, he's strapping those wood things onto his feet again. Could be a long one. We should probably start remodeling these bones and the joints and the ligaments and the muscles, because he really seems to like strapping those wood things to his feet and then just flexing and extending his spine thousands and thousands of times, over and over again. Take a look at this. This is the Jefferson curl. This is everything that conventional exercise wisdom warns people against doing. By Jove, the discs, the muscles. But no, isolated lumbar extension exercises, or ILEX, are actually fantastically effective at building specific strength in the lumbar extensor muscles, and with that strength, resilience in the tissues, so long as you progress the exercise, the loads, and the movements. This is a fantastic form of long-term management of low back pain. Myth number 9, we're coming up on the end. Pain flare-ups are a sign of tissue damage and require rest. Okay, Victorian England called. They want their idiotic intervention for the vapors back. Fact! Pain flare-ups are more related to changes in activity, stress, and mood rather than structural damage. Yup! A pain flare-up is where the pain just kind of shows up. It just reintroduces itself into your life. If we're talking about arthritis, a change in the weather can cause more pain in arthritis, and if you're older than 20, you probably have a little bit of arthritis in your lower back. If the weather's bad, or if you're stressed out, or if you're a redhead, or if you hate your boss, or if you get fired, if you don't sleep well, or if you eat a bunch of trash, all of those things, all of those stressors can suddenly make that low-grade arthritis in your lower back sing. Oh, my back hurts. It's so painful. I hate my boss. I'm feeling fat. All those things can cause a pain flare-up. Also, require rest. They actually link inactivity with increased low back pain, with increased pain in general. And on top of that, since we know that pain flare-ups can be linked to stress, exercise is like an antidote to stress. The number of research articles out there that show how effective exercise is, any kind of exercise, yoga or stretching or weightlifting or walking or going for a jog, at reducing low back pain is staggering. There must be trillions of articles out there that say, hey, exercise, any exercise, is good for back pain. You know what I'm saying? Myth number 10, the final myth. Treatments such as strong medications, injections, and surgery are effective and necessary to treat low back pain. I wonder what the truth is. Fact. Effective care for low back pain is relatively cheap and safe. This includes education that is patient-centered and fosters a positive mindset and coaching people to optimize their physical and mental health, such as engaging in physical activity and exercise, social activities, healthy sleep habits and body weight, and remaining employed. Look, the truth is that sometimes you do need surgery for low back pain. Some of the operations work like a charm. I've had patients go under the knife and they come out singing. Totally cured, no more need for PT. I love it when it comes out that clean. Medications and injections can also be super effective. Corticosteroid injections or prednisone taper packs, those can also be really effective at just taking that inflammation in the area and clearing it off the table. But I also know that most people that I talk to don't like taking medications. For the most part, if we're just talking about low back pain, right, according to the research, most low back pain is mechanical, non-specific, resolves on its own within 6 weeks, is not related to cancer or infections or anything really serious. Most cases. If you think that you're outside of that, if you think that you do have some serious pathology going on, if you have some sort of numbness in the saddle area or your leg gives way because of your low back pain, go see your doctor. What are you waiting for, right? Like, take that stuff seriously. But if it's just like, ugh, I feel fat, I feel gross, my back hurts, ugh, then I want you to think of your low back pain as a message that you need to change some things in your life. Modern society being what it is gonna make that challenging for you. Gotta pay the bills and all that, no time for a home-cooked meal, hard to get a good night's sleep, too tired to exercise, too stressed to relax. Okay? Understood. If the choice is between take this medication for the rest of your life or lose weight, start going to the gym, modify your lifestyle, this is easier, the pill is easier, but that's a band-aid on a bullet hole versus improving your life and reducing the overall stress load on your nervous system and on those structures back there and actually curing the problem. When you change those things and you improve your lot in life, you improve your lot in life, obviously. And you feel better because you are better. Here's a rub, folks. Unhelpful beliefs lead to unhelpful behaviors. If your belief system is not based on the bedrock of a reality itself, it will fail you. Everything that you do will be dissonant. It's hard to act right when you don't know right. These 10 myths that I just went over, they're all myths, which is to say that they do not consistently map onto reality itself. Most of them are nonsense. Total bullshit, if you will. If you want to prevent your low back from hurting, here's a couple of simple rules. Exercise daily, eat well, and keep your weight reasonable for your frame. Get enough sleep, manage your stress, become an emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually savvy human being. Be patient, be graceful, be grateful, don't be a dick, and if and when your low back does start hurting, remember rule number 1 of getting injured. Don't panic. Okay. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was useful. If you know anybody that has low back pain, please share this video with them. We need to get this sort of information out into the world. We need to start clearing away all of these stupid, silly, antiquated myths and beliefs that are harmful. Also, I would like for my channel to expand. The more people I can reach, the more impact I can have, and the more lives I can change, and the more people I can help. I can save the world. I can save the world. I know I can do it. All you have to do is share my videos and maybe go to the store and buy some sweet merchandise. I have some new merchandise, speaking of which, and the new merchandise is so nice. Remember, I'm in my office all day, every day, and I'm here to help. Questions, concerns, comments, fire them off below or send me a message. If you have low back pain and you are concerned about it, let me know. We'll talk, we'll get you squared away, we'll get you taken care of. But otherwise, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm so done. Enlighten the mind, elevate the spirit, and make savage the body.